Hey everyone, I'm the Dr. Bob Lee. I'm your host, and you're watching Open. It's that live interactive program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to your TV set. You can stay connected to us through social media at BronxNet TV. A whole lot going on, I tell you. But leading things off, our first guest is a communication expert and conflict resolution strategist, and she's here to share her perspective on the Will Smith and Chris Rock incident. Yeah. And, all that stuff that took place at the Oscars, and to highlight some important lessons that can be learned from this. So please welcome to the show, Lynn Hurdle Price. Lynn, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so thrilled to be here. So,
Lynn,
yes.
I know. Before we get started, tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into what you're into.
Absolutely. So I'm a conflict resolution strategist over 40 years now. And I'm in there in the trenches helping people with the everyday disputes to all of the heaviness of the disputes around race and all of the isms out there. And unfortunately, I was going to be a theater major, and I started in this work because of a racial incident that happened actually here in the Bronx. That's where I was born and raised. And it was an incident where I almost lost my life. And after the incident, right after, I remember saying, I don't know how, but I think my purpose is to bring people together around these issues. And so I went to Syracuse University and started my career.
Yeah, and then what do you think about, everybody's still talking about it. The slap heard around the world. I mean, we want to put it to bed and get into other things, but people are still talking about it, and they're talking about, maybe he needs to get some sort of therapy. Talking about Will Smith.
Yes. I don't think we're going to stop talking about this, honestly, in some way or another, but maybe not in a heightened way. But what I think about it is I'm saying to myself, I'm watching this and I'm saying to myself, my goodness, where's this coming from? He looks like he's reacting as opposed to thinking about, this is something that I really want to do here. And I know exactly why I'm going to do it. Everybody's seeing, I'm sure, the clip of him laughing first, and then you see Jada's face, and then the next thing you see is him going up the stairs. So I just finished Will's book, and he talks about the trauma of not being there for his mother to defend his mother, right, in domestic violence. And so I'm saying, did he look at Jada's face in that flashback? I'm being a coward again. And then he decided he was going to do something, or he just went with the emotions. But I'm going to tell you the thing, because it's about my work. Chris Rock, in that moment, what did you do, brother? That's what I want to know. Like, what did you do to bring yourself to sell that to because how did you bring yourself in that moment to not just carry on, but to do it in a way where you have to be in shock in that moment, and yet you are totally professional, and you actually let Will off with real grace, right? Because that could have turned into throwing hands, and just something that I don't think any of us wanted to imagine what that could have been.
I thought it was a movie smack.
Yeah, I think a lot of people did first, because it was kind of like that, right? But you had to, when you saw Chris's reaction, I think that's like the initial, the reaction. And that's why I say, what did he do for himself in that moment? Because it was clear that he was not expecting that. He fully felt it. And Will was on something in terms of adrenaline and feelings, and because he didn't come out of it, and he went back down, and we get the cursing and keep my wife's name, like it continued on.
What did he say? Keep my wife's name? What? No, you don't have to say.
Good. All right. Keep my. No, I wasn't going to. But keep my wife's name out your mouth. Yeah. Yes, and several times, right?
But I thought
So,
Chris Rock was
so
cool.
he was fun.
Chris was cool after that. I mean, he had to grab his composure back, because he
Yes,
did
he
say,
did.
"Hey, we're giving out the
Yes,
documentary. I mean, the award to the documentary." So he was like
yes,
startled. But
yes. He
you do a lot of this kind of work. Tell us about the other types of work that you do to help others get what they need out of life. I mean, you're working
Yeah,
with women, entrepreneurs. Tell us about that.
I do. I work with women entrepreneurs. I do conflict coaching. So I work a lot with leadership. So whether it's one-on-one coaching or whether I work in groups in different corporations and nonprofits, and really helping people to look at how you respond in conflict. And it isn't just about techniques, it's about
Yeah,
what's happening within you during conflict, and how do you work with that in
yeah.
order to get the best result.
And all those other things that lead up to that point. What
That's
are
right.
those other things that you need? Do you need to get to the root of your situation
Yes, yes. I
before
did
you
a
can fix it?
That's right. Well, I did a conflict summit about old wounds and conflict because they're sitting there, right? And we
Yeah,
have the trauma and the residue of old wounds from childhood on up. However, whoever raised you did conflict, you learn to do that too. And until you do something to unlearn that, right? And you got to do a lot of something and get more techniques, you are going to likely do the same kinds of things when conflicts come up. I also work with a group called On the Matter of Race. And I work with white people who are interested in learning about racism and doing something about it. And that is not just learning history, but also what about me? Like, how do I uphold it? And what was I raised with? And how do I then unlearn that and challenge that in the way in which I operate in the world? And that's not easy work at all, to look at our own selves and to really see where we need to learn more and unlearn more and do better.
What are some of the things that you can do? I mean, a couple of tips that you can do or tell people to help de-escalate a
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah. Well, first thing is people have no idea how powerful our breath is. It's one of the things that we can control within ourselves. And so I know I grew up on, like count to 10 and breathe, but
Yeah.
that's really not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is being able to use the breath to de-escalate us, because our physiology acts first in any conflict situation. So we have to get to it, get ourselves to the place of being able to being able to access our brain, right? Decision making ability. So the breath is one thing. The other thing is, once you're in that space, to really think about whether or not this is something that you really want to do. So this is the best thing that I can do in this situation. And I'll say, you may want to slap the mess out of somebody, but is that the best thing in the situation? And is that who you are? And are you ready to deal with whatever's on the other side
Think about
of that solution? Right. Right.
It took me a
That's
long
right.
time.
Think about the consequences.
Took me
Did
a long
it?
yeah. A long time.
Yeah. Yeah, because that slap feels good,
Yeah.
right? If you're honest with yourself, but that's not the right response, right?
Right.
And if that is not who you are, especially, right, then you've altered this moment in time. And you look at Will Smith, he altered this moment in time, and he can't get that back.
Tell us about the before technique.
Yeah. Before, that's the technique. I thought about this just really when this situation came up, because these are the kinds of things that I use. So
And what does it
the
stand for?
before, it stands for, the breath is B, right? So breathing in and then holding it for 4 seconds, and then exhale for 4 seconds. Right. Beautiful. Right. So that's the E. And then you have to really go from there to think about, like, what is it that you're feeling? Yeah. And feel the feelings, sit in the feelings. We run away from feelings. I want you to sit in the feelings and to
That's
really
DEF.
understand.
Uh-huh.
Right. And then the O is, to own what it's making you want to do, right? Whatever that is. And then, after that, to reflect, the R, reflect on, is that the best solution to this? And then the E is about what's the excellent thing that I can do that's going to represent me well in this moment.
And therefore, you have to before.
And do it before.
Do it before.
Do it before.
Exactly.
Yes.
But where can we find more about all the work that you're doing?
You can find me at Lynn. Yes, my website, LynnMaureenHurdle.com. I'm also on Instagram at Conflict Closer. I don't tweet a lot, but I am on Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn as Lynn Maureen Hurdle. You can find me in all those places. And
you'll help them get over their hurdle.
Yes, for a price.
For a price.
I heard a price.
Everything's in the name right there.
That's right. It's all there.
Lynn Hurdle Price, CEO, Conflict Resolution Analyst, Specialist. It's a beautiful thing.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. We'll take a break. More open coming your way next. Don't move.